And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Committee on Industrial Programs Interim Committee meeting. For members and staff, please remember to mute your microphone when you are not speaking and to unmute your microphone before you begin speaking. I oftentimes forget. Given the virtual nature of our meetings, it is important that each committee member and presenter to speak clearly and state and spell their first and last name for the record each time that they speak. I know it's repetitive, but it helps us with record keeping. So I believe we are all here. I will ask our policy analyst, Mr. Weiser, to go ahead and call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Goycochea.
Here.
Senator Parks.
Here.
Assemblyman Levitt.
Here.
Mr. Aguilera.
Here.
Mr. Doty.
Here.
Ms. Levine.
Here.
Mr. Pulitz.
Here.
Mr. Saltero. Mr. Saltero. And I believe we're expecting him late, Madam Chair. Mr. Director Daniels.
Here.
Ms. Williams.
Here.
Here.
And Chair Monroe Moreno.
I am here. And will you mark Mr. Saltero present when he arrives? Thank you. Because of the public nature of this meeting, we're not able to meet in person. We do want the public to be able to participate in this meeting. We will limit any public comments to 3 minutes. And there's a few ways that you can participate with us. First is by dialing in, and the dial-in number is 669-900-6833. Then you'll need to enter the meeting ID. That ID number is 943-0458-8865, and then press the pound sign. You can also send your comments by email to this committee at industrial@lcb.state.nv.us. Or if you would like to send your comments to us by mail, please send them to the Fiscal Analysis Division, 401 South Carson Street, Carson City, Nevada, 89701. And finally, if you'd like to fax them to us, that number is 775-684-6761. And again, if we have anyone making public comment, please remember to state your name and spell your name for the record. Do we have anyone waiting in public comment?
Chair Monroe Moreno, the public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you so much. And with that, we will move on to item agenda 3, which is the minutes from our last meeting. I hope everyone has had the opportunity to review the minutes inside the packets that were sent to you. They are available online with the agenda and all the meeting materials for this meeting. So with that, I will entertain a motion to approve our minutes.
Senator Goycochea, motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Beverly Williams, second.
Any discussion on that? Seeing none, I will ask our policy analyst to call a roll call vote. And I will ask all the members when voting, it is much easier for those that are taking minutes and for the public if we say yes or no instead of yay or nay. So with that, Mr. Weiser, if you'll call the vote.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Goycochea.
Yes.
Senator Parks.
Yes.
Assemblyman Levitt.
Yes.
Chair Monroe Moreno,
Yes.
Mr. Aguilera,
Yes.
Director Daniels,
Yes.
Mr. Doty,
Yes.
Ms. Levine,
Yes.
Mr. Pewitz,
Yes.
Mr. Saltero, and Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Then we'll move on to the fourth item on our agenda, which is a status report of outstanding debts owed to prison industries. And I'd ask the department to provide us with an update. You can go ahead whenever you're ready. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman Moreno and committee members. This is Deputy Director Quengo for the record. I have Jackie Cooper, who is the acting administrative services officer, as Diane Dassel has retired early last month. I'll have turned it over to Ms. Jackie Cooper to continue and report on the aging schedule. Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, this is Jackie Cooper. That's JACQUECOOPER. Our customer aging report begins on, is at tab 4, starts on page 19. As shown at the bottom of page 21, a balance of $728,235 was owed to prison industries at the end of June. The majority of the receivables are composed of our top 10 customers. They owe a total of $556,583, or 76% of the total receivables due. The Federal Bureau of Land Management has the highest single balance of $194,048. Two of our top 10 are private customers: Diamond Mountain Distributors and Ferguson Safety Products. They always run a balance as they continually do business with us, and DMD has a contract with PI. Ferguson Safety Products always pays their invoices promptly. The 7 remaining top 10 customers are government agencies, either county or state, and we can always depend on their payment. We do have one auto shop customer that has a balance over 121 days. That is Joseph Monzo. He owes $4,771. Mr. Monzo's car is still it's still at SDCC Auto Shop, and he has assured us that he will pay once a few minor repairs are completed and he re-inspects the car. We are pretty confident that we can collect on the remainder of the receivables.
Thank you for your report and welcome to the team. I'm so sorry we weren't able to have a meeting prior to her retirement so we could all have said goodbye and thank her for her service to the state of Nevada. But Ms. Cooper, welcome aboard. Members,
Thank you.
any questions on the report?
Madam Chair, Senator Goycochea, just kind of piqued my interest. The one from Fallon Livestock Auction, I assume that was for livestock or something, why they haven't paid that even though it is only a 30-day account.
For the record, Bill Quengy, Deputy Director of Industrial Programs. They have been invoiced, so it's recent. It's still within the 30 days. Once it gets close to the 31st day, then it'll roll the show in the report as outstanding, but they're still current.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, Justin
Ms.
Pope, for the record. Sometimes the invoices, when we have to invoice for a check that we receive, they always cut a check, and then usually it's an issue with us or our accounting department just getting the invoice processed.
For the record, this is Jackie Cooper. Actually, we do have a credit on the account to cover that invoice. It has not been applied to the invoice yet.
Thank you. Again, Senator Goicoechea, typically those are cash and carry. I was just surprised to see it booked. Okay.
Thank you, Senator. Ms. Williams, did you have a question? Okay.
No.
Thank you. All right, seeing no other questions, we will move on to item 5, which is a review of the number of inmates that worked from July 2016 through June 2020.
For the record, Jackie Cooper. The information for inmates working actually starts on page 23 with fiscal year 17, starting in July of 2016. PI had an average of 465 offenders working, or 3.3% of the total population. Going to the end of the next page, fiscal year 18 shows an average of 494 offenders working, or 3.6% of the total population. In fiscal year 19, we had an average of 494 offenders working, or 3.6% of the total population. I'm sorry, that was 18. In 19, PI had an average of 530 offenders working, 3.9% of the prison population. Fiscal year 20, PI has an average of 788 offenders working over a 9-month period. We did not average the last 3 months in at this time the report was done. So this, the 9 months covers to the ending of March, and that was a 4.6% total of the total population. Jacobs Trading ended their association with PI in October of 2019, and Erickson Framing temporarily suspended work on April of 2020 due to the pandemic. Since the start of the pandemic, PI has added jobs with the startup of our detergent or home essentials division and All Wire, which started in September.
Thank you for that. I think our last meeting was right around the beginning of the COVID pandemic, and we had seen where the numbers of inmate workers had decreased. A number of our employers had closed their doors or had severely cut back. I do have a question. With all of the fires going on around the country, do we have any of our inmate fire crew working on any of the fires? And I will apologize now. Not only am I an assemblywoman, but I'm also playing a teacher. We are the digital classroom, so I apologize when you see little people pop up.
Madam Chair, Deputy Director Coinga, could you repeat the question, ma'am?
Yes, I'm sorry. It doesn't say if we have any of our inmates in the fire crews. There's a number of fires that have been going on in Northern California and surrounding areas. Do we have any of our inmates involved in any of the helping combat any of the fires going on?
For the record, Deputy Director Coinga, yes, ma'am, we still have fire crews that I'm aware of at Stewart Conservation Camp who have been participating in some of these fires as needed.
Thank you. Members, any questions on this report?
Madam Chair, David Parks. I have a question with regards to Erickson Framing, and is this by best guess a temporary suspension of work, or does this appear to be a permanent cessation of activity?
For the record, Bill Coinga, Deputy Director, this is just temporary. I have been in contact with the CEO of Erickson and also the human resources person, and they are just chomping at the bit. They want us They really saw a difference between the civilian crew that's working out there compared to the inmate crew that we had working out there. But they're really anxious for us to come back out, but until we can get some control of this COVID out in the community there, at this time, we feel that it's taking a chance. We don't want to take a chance of going out there and infecting or bringing that back to our population, as we have a pretty strong record within our department on maintaining and controlling COVID with our firewalls.
Thank you, Mr. Cuenca. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Of course. Any other questions? Hey, seeing none, we will move on to item number 6 on our agenda. A review of the deductions from inmate wages for room and board. If the department is ready to give us a review over those deductions from FY 2018, 2019, and 2020.
For the record, this is Jackie Cooper. Our report begins on page 27. And it shows the program participants working for PI have 24.5% of their wages deducted for room and board. 5% is deducted for the Victims of Crime Fund, and 5% is deducted for the PI CIP Fund. In fiscal year 18, offenders had a total of $456,883 deducted from their pay. For fiscal year 19, a total of, for fiscal year 19, a total of In fiscal year 19, a total of $513,485 was deducted from offenders' pay. And for fiscal year 20, deductions included $336,329 for room and board, $68,639 for Victims of Crime Fund, and $70,423 for the PI CIP Fund, for a total of $475,391. As a result of the pandemic, deductions are down approximately $38,000 as compared to last year. Also,
Thank you.
do you have a question?
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Marcy's Law was approved by voters and approved in the last session. It became effective September 1st of this year. So payments will be made to their court-ordered victims' restitution as top priority above all other offender payments, which includes room and board, victims of crime, and the PIC Capital Improvement Fund. It was difficult to estimate what the impact will be, but Inmate Services is making projections on that. And they base their projections on historical data from October 2017 through October of 2018. They estimate a total annual loss of $17,623 to the CIP Fund. They estimate a loss of $489,271 in room and board payments to the Nevada Department of Corrections as a whole. However, that is all for corrections, not just PI workers. PI shares approximately $88,000.
Ms. Deputy Director Cuenca, we're ready for any questions if there are any.
Members, do you have any questions on this report? I do have a question. I was noticing that on the Florence McClure Women's Correctional Facility, there is a large drop from the totals from 2019 to 2020. Could you just remind us, if you've told us about that in the past, why the drop? And then Warm Springs Correctional Facility, There's been no activity in 2020. If you could just remind us of why that is.
For the record, Deputy Director Bill Quinga, the reason for the drop at Women's is that Jacobs Trading had closed down, as we have stated earlier in our testimony, since they have shut down as the owner has deceased. So we're still looking to try to get some kind of prison industries into the Women's facility. And in regards to Warm Springs Correctional Center, we had Diamond Mountain Distributors, which they closed shop up there. It was just not feasible for them to have the carts from the north and sort them and then bring them down logistically. So they incorporated that operation down at Southern Desert Correctional Center. And there's really no space at Warm Springs, but I'm still actively looking to see if there's some small operation that we can offer for industries at Warm Springs.
Thank you for that. Members, any other questions on this agenda item? Okay. Seeing none, then we will move on to item number 7. If the department will give us a review over the Silver State Industries financial statements for the fiscal year ending on June 30th.
For the record, this is Jackie Cooper. The financial statements for fiscal year 2020 as compared to 2019 start on page 31. Starting with the top line for unrestricted cash, industries cash decreased approximately $594,760 or 24% compared to the same period last year. The ranch's cash increased about $340,590. Historically, industries has always had more cash than the ranch, but for fiscal year 20, industries and the ranch are about even. Accounts receivable increased by almost $128,607 or 18.3% from last year. The livestock inventory increased over $123,670, and the shop inventories increased by $149,549. Going on down the page to the other assets section, restricted cash increased by $9,580, and further down to the liabilities and capital balance section, PI's retained earnings decreased approximately $230,362 to a balance of $3,852,660. As we go on to the bottom of page 32, our net loss totals $230,362. On page 33, we break down the different budgets. Industries had a loss of $518,307. The ranch contributed $287,865 toward the program support, and the PI Capital Fund ended with an increase of $79. On page 34, it illustrates how the changes in returning earnings were arrived at. The July 1st, 2019 starting balance was $4,083,022. 2019.
So I'm in the middle of a interim hearing.
Senator Parks, your mic is open. You can go ahead with your report.
Page 34. Okay. The July 1st, 2019 starting balance was $4,083,022, and we subtracted our loss of $230,000
$362, leaving a balance of $3,852,660 at the end of fiscal year 20. On page 35 is PI's central administration section. Our license plate revenue decreased by approximately $783, and capital improvement revenue decreased by $210. Our rental income increased by $7,800 due to the sewing collection. Our administrative fees decreased by approximately $6,637, primarily due to Diamond Mountain Distributors. Our total revenue decreased by approximately $194,907. Going to the general administrative expenses, this shows a net loss that increased about $883,000. The two areas that contributed to this loss were that we made an investment in our Sprung building so that we could rent that out to All Wires. That total investment was $164,000. All Wires has signed a multi-million-dollar contract and will be utilizing the building and putting vendors to work. Also, an increase in our statewide allocation cap from $145,000 in fiscal year 19 to $466,000 in fiscal year 20. That is an increase of $321,167. Diane previously complained that it has ballooned in this year, and it's almost $500,000, which is really crippling PI. The majority of that $500,000 is depreciation on 1,833 square feet of office space that we rent from Buildings and Grounds. On page 36, our new detergent home essentials section is listed. It was created.
Could you
as a
hold on just
response-
one, excuse me, could you hold on one moment? I'm going to ask our policy analyst, Mr. Weiser, to hop on for comment, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, Brody Lizer, LCB Fiscal. Ms. Cooper, I apologize for interrupting. Just given the continuous discussions and repetitive discussions that have occurred with the statewide cost allocation, I just did want to hop on the record to let the committee know that once again, we had reached out to the Administrative Services Division of the Department of Administration, who is tasked with the SWICAP charges, and they work with a contracted vendor to develop these costs on a biannual basis. And I just wanted the committee to be aware, given that this has come up now, I think this is either the third or fourth meeting, that the Administrative Services Division is still committed to resolving this issue. But at this time, they have not been able to come to a conclusion regarding the appropriateness of the charges under the statewide cost allocation for prison industries. And as Ms. Cooper indicated, it relates to depreciation calculations. And it appears after talking with the administrator, they're still looking into this. But he did indicate to me that the assigned square footage for prison industries could very well not be correct, but it could be not correct on either end of the spectrum, meaning that the SWICAP charges could actually even be higher than they are in the current biennium. And so the administrator has committed to having a resolution to this prior to next biennium. And as you all may be aware, we were getting ready for the 2021 session and beginning the budget building process. And I will let you know that this particular statewide cost allocation charge for prison industries is certainly on both your fiscal division staff's radar with the upcoming budget cycle, but it is also on the radar of the executive branch staff, including the governor's finance office and the administrative services division, to ensure that we can get a 100% accurate calculation for the prison industry's budget so that they can plan accordingly for the upcoming biennium. So I apologize that I don't have a definitive response for the committee, but given that conversation that I had with the administrator, I did want to pass that along and put that on the record.
Thank you, Mr. Leiser, for the update on that. Apologize, Ms. Cooper, you can go ahead.
Thank you. For the record, this is Jackie Cooper. Our new section is our detergent or home essentials section, and it was created as response to the COVID-19. This section is manufacturing hand sanitizer and has been in production since March 23rd. Listed are some of the startup costs for basically the first week. Well, actually, it's longer now, but our sales for, as of June 30th, total $151,505 and contributed $37,336 for program support. On page 37 is our Mattress Factory. Their sales increased approximately $66,000, which is a 25% increase. Their cost of sales is still a little high, but the shop supervisor is working on it to try and get that down. Their total general and administrative manufacturing expenses have decreased approximately $7,400, so that helps a little bit. The Mattress Factory has $94,490 in turnaround, and they went from a loss last year of $14,396. No? Oh, I'm sorry. It went from a loss of $80,094 to a positive of $14,396 for program support. On page 38, we have the print and bindery shop. Our sales increased approximately $82,428, mainly due to the selling of officers' uniforms. Our general and administrative manufacturing expenses decreased approximately $22,000. The shop's earnings available for program support is $34,362. We have a new shop supervisor there. Her name is Shauna. She's a fast learner, and she has good ideas to continue the increase in sales. It also oversees the production of our sanitizer. We hope she has a long and promising future with PI. The furniture and metal shops are combined, and they're on page 39. Furniture's revenue increased approximately $133,000. Metals revenue was relatively flat with a loss of 1.7%. Furniture's share of the combined total revenue was $155,107. The combined earnings available for program support was $46,519 from the furniture and metal shop combined, which is a positive retained earnings compared to fiscal year 19. Moving on to page 40, we have the auto and upholstery shop, along with their manpower operations. Auto sales increased approximately $52,598 compared to last year. Auto contributed $117,524 to the general administrative manufacturing expenses. Our card sorting contribution was $2,682. Between the auto and the manpower operations, they experienced a combined $51,425 loss. We are in the process of looking for a new shop supervisor. Currently is being run by the correctional officer that was working there at the time that our other supervisor left. We feel that the shop is improving and it does have a lot of potential. And we hope to see a turnaround for the next fiscal year.
For the record, Deputy Director Quenga, in regards to the SDCC Auto and Upholstery, as we had our last meeting on the financials, we were at a loss at 80,000. And I did state that within 6 months or so, we would start seeing a decrease and flip that shop over as I've changed administrative procedures, operating procedures, and how we work on vehicles, that we don't wait till the job is completed. We bill or invoice the customers as we complete the quote in sections, so that way we get revenue coming in. So I'm starting to see a change, and that's what I expressed to the committee, and I hope to continue. I still got more work. Actively seeking for a supervisor. It's been kind of tough recruiting through the state. I've also reached out to the National Correctional Industries Association and other private entities that DHRM might have a contract with to push this announcement out so we can get a real competitive and hopefully get a real strong supervisor in that shop to maintain that shop moving forward. And I'm open for any questions if there are any.
Thank you. Any questions on this part of the report? Members,
I have a question. This is Alan Pulis.
go ahead.
Guys, the administrative cost is what seems to be the biggest change and increase. And that's what you're talking about. That who are you paying now with $194,000 a year with their state 39% benefit cost? What are you replacing that with somebody besides the guard, or who is that? Where are you getting that high of a, for a $250,000 sales business to have a $120,000, $130,000 labor administrative cost is a little bit excessive.
Director, Deputy Director Quenga. So part of the administration, as we see like the salaries that's paying out, Mr. Craig Koersgaard, who retired in January, that follows through. And then the former supervisor, we had to do a payout upon his resignation to pay his any leave, annual, and anything other owed to him from personnel.
Thank you. That does explain it. Those payouts at the end can be pretty substantial.
Yes, they can. Members, anyone else? Question? Seeing none, Ms. Cooper, you can continue.
For the record, this is Jackie Cooper. We'll continue on to page 41, the Garment Factory. Our garment sales increased $238,000 or 25% compared to the same time last year. The Garment Factory contribution to the G&A expenses increased, and their general and administrative manufacturing expenses actually decreased slightly. Earnings available for program support increased to $43,370 as compared to last year, contributing $275,268 for program support. The shop has 126 workers, and currently Roy Lorton, the previous correctional officer who worked under our previous supervisor, has been overseeing the operation of the shop with a lot of success.
For the record, Deputy Director Quenga, the large increase that we're seeing here is also helps with the personal protective equipment that we manufacture out of that shop that is provided for within the Department of Corrections and also other state entities and private entities within the state of Nevada, manufacturing gowns, medical caps, and a lot of masks. So we have a variety of types of masks. We have some that are assigned, they're manufactured for our inmate population. We have masks assigned for staff, and then other entities out within the state of Nevada that order custom ones that are manufactured up there. So we service and help our Nevadans stay safe.
As far as the number of masks for the inmates, these are washable, reusable masks, if I remember correctly. How many masks do our inmates get per inmate?
For the record, Deputy Director Cuenga, we have manufactured orange masks so that I can identify the inmates. If they are inmates, wearing orange ones. What I've done is work with the department into getting the inmate population from each institution and camp. And then we add 10 to 25% on that, and also take in consideration for High Desert State Prison and Northern Nevada Correctional Center, which is our intake facility, to have an abundance on hand for the intakes coming in. We do provide the inmates 2 masks each. Therefore, one can be utilized, but the other one is turned in with their laundry so that it's rotated and kept clean.
Thank you. Members, any other questions on this before we continue? Okay, seeing none, you may continue.
For the record, this is Jackie Cooper. The ranch is on page 42 and 43. The total sales for the ranch increased approximately $381,000. All sections provided a positive contribution except for crops. The stray horse section was flat due to the fact that the state did not have any horses for the ranch to board this year. The BLM section performed the best. The daily per diem is $3.40 per horse. The ranch's state cost allocation increased 18.2% from $17,394 to $20,552. The ranch ended with a $287,865 increase, or a 23.1 increase available for program support.
Senator Gochia, any questions?
No, ma'am, it's still looking.
Okay.
On the last page, page 45, it shows that PI as a whole ended with $230,362 loss. This is due to the fact that the state allocation, more than $500,000 was taken in retained earnings for the reduction of the state, that was taken to the general fund for this budget shortfall. And PI would have had a more favorable ending if we did not have such a big loss. Questions?
Yes, members, are there any questions about this entire section on any of the accounts? I do have just a few. On page 35, you spoke about an investment in a building for All Wire, which was approximately $164,000. Of that investment, will All Wire be paying any of that, or is that a total amounts coming out of your budget alone and hope to recoup that money later? Or will they be paying any of that investment in the building so that they could utilize it?
For the record, Deputy Director Cuenga, Prison Industry made the investment so we can enhance that facility, that building, sprung building, so we bring them in. We signed a 3-year, multi-million-dollar contract, and with that, we should be able to recoup it as we are charging them per square foot. We're charging them administrative fees. We're charging like $1 on top of each inmate that works out there, on top of their wages per hour, the hours worked. So we would be able to recoup that as we go through. I would anticipate seeing recouping that investment hopefully within the first 1.5 years. but I see it as a positive moving forward. And at this moment, we have 5 offenders working out there. We're looking to increase to 10. We're going to go real slow as we go. They're already manufacturing some product, which are circuitry panels, and their biggest customer is right here in Henderson, Nevada. So it makes it very convenient from Indian Springs right here to Henderson, and we're looking to push that up to approximately 40 offenders working in there, and possibly 2 to 3 shifts moving forward. And I would anticipate at least 6 to 8 months before we do something like that, just to keep an eye on it and things go smooth, as safety and security is the first thing that we put ahead of everything.
Thank you for that. And then on page 36 for the detergent shop, could you let the committee know who your customers, your clients are? Because this is a new thing that just started with COVID.
For the record, Deputy Director Cuenca, a lot of our customers are state entities. We have been supplying FEMA, and FEMA continues to purchase hand sanitizer that we mix in our institution at Northern Nevada Correctional Center, which we offer various sizes from 2 ounce, 4 ounce, 6, 10 ounce, and gallon jugs. We have partnered up with other state entities like Highway Patrol or DPS. We also have been reaching out and working in collaboration and moving forward with Visit Carson City. They have a CARES Act fund that they have, and they have been purchasing over 50,000 bottles from us of various sizes. And what they're doing with that CARES Act fund is they are giving it to hotels and local businesses for free that are in the community to keep the community safe. With that said, they're also purchasing masks. We have different types of materials that we use for masks, and we're doing that out of the print shop, embroidery shop. We're able to do sublimation, also silk screening, to put their personal logos on there to enhance their program out in the community, and various other agencies, entities down here in Las Vegas that we're working with.
Good to hear. And I think this is no, I have 2 more. Okay, on page 37, with the mattress, I know in previous meetings we had talked about the city of North Las Vegas reopening their corrections facility. Were we able to get a contract with them for furniture or mattresses as they did that reopen?
For the record, Deputy Director Bill Cuenca, yes, ma'am, we did. We did provide with mattresses and other clothing for their facility. And we're continuing to move forward as their new Director of Correctional Services is one of our former wardens, Warden Baker, who was the warden at Lovelock Correctional Center, where our garment factory is. And we are in constant communication, and anything that they need, they will purchase and work together so we keep it in Nevada.
Awesome. That's really good to hear. And then I think my last question was on page 40. And looking for a new shop steward. The corrections officer that's, I guess, standing in that position, does he or she have any interest in becoming the shop steward supervisor? And how's that job hunt going?
For the record, Deputy Director Bill Cuenca, the correctional officer there has been assigned there for over a year. Still speaking with him, trying to convince him, but he has no interest. He likes being in uniform and doing the custody side of it. So I'm still working on to see if he'd be interested. And the position is open, and we do not have a closing date. We're going to keep it open until we can get somebody in there, hire somebody that can be effective, that's going to be around for a long time.
Thank you. That was all the questions I had on that section. Members, does anyone else have any questions? Hey.
Well,
See,
Madam Chair, maybe I better, how many horses have we got in the facility right now?
For the record, Deputy Director Cuenca, I will turn that over to Justin Pope, who is up north. Justin, you're on mute.
There we go.
There you go.
Can you hear me now? Okay. We're sitting at 1,660 roughly. That's horses and burros. Justin
you.
Pope for the record.
Thanks, Justin. Yeah, I was swung by there, a couple weeks ago, I guess, just on the hill there and looked at some of your facilities and horses down there. We'll just have to watch that as of course, Senator Parks is aware, there is a bill coming forward that is looking at the path forward, they call it, and they're talking about a big reduction if that is funded on the federal level. Maybe we would have to look at ramping up our facilities and putting a few more in. Thank you.
Yeah, Justin Pope for the record. BLM did approach us and say that there is definitely the possibility that there could be some expansion in the future. They're looking for housing for over 10,000 horses. So I think we have a good shot at expanding our facility. I don't know to 10,000, but maybe we could at least double in what we're doing. So we're starting the beginning phases of kind of putting a plan together to be able to accommodate that many horses, what the facility would look like, and possibly seeing if the committee would have an appetite for us getting some CIP funds for putting the thing together.
I agree, Justin, and appreciate that. The bottom line is we'll see if the federal funding comes, and again, Senator Parks was chairing that meeting earlier this week. And really, realistically, if that federal funding does come, I think we could look at maybe 10,000 in the state of Nevada, but it's close to 30,000 head of horses.
So currently we have just over 16,000. What would we max out with right now with the total number of horses we could take in with the facility the way it's built now?
Justin Pope for the record. I'm sorry if I misspoke. It's actually 1,600, not 16,000. And we have a max capacity of 2,000. And I think if we had an expansion, we might be looking at kind of doubling the size of what we had to hold, possibly 4,000, 4,500.
That was my mistake. I'm sorry about that. It was 16,000. Okay. And then we will have to talk to find out what those CIP funds, going back into the next legislative session, money is going to be tight. However, this is an area where we could actually increase revenue in the state. So I'd be interested to seeing exactly what those CIP ask would be for funding for an expansion program.
Madam Chair, if I may, is Senator Goycochea, and I think a lot of it will depend on the federal funding that does come. If in fact this plan is adopted, these would be long-term holding, and they'd be held for quite a while, and we anticipate some of them for their lifetime. So it could be worthwhile. But again, I wouldn't advocate building anything until the feds decide they're going to put, I think that's $100 million ticket on the path forward.
I would definitely like to have the money in hand before we move forward. Things seem to change often at the federal level. So we've learned that with the CARES dollars. All right, members, any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none. Thank you for that. And we will move on to item 8 on our agenda. If the department could provide us with the status on the fund for new construction of facilities for prison industries.
Okay, Jackie Cooper for the record. Our CIP fund report begins on page 47. That's for construction of facilities for prison industries. In fiscal year 16, PI obtained $297,118 in equipment, which reduced the end of the year balance to $303,821. In fiscal year 17, the end of the year balance rose to $371,715. And in fiscal year 18, it increased to $443,622. In fiscal year 19, PI purchased more equipment in the amount of $181,235. And at the end of June 2019, we had a CIP balance of $345,765. This year, we purchased $25,000 in corral panels for expansion of the horse corrals, and $52,260 was used to purchase a milk pouching machine. Additionally, a powder milk stick pack machine for $55,000 was authorized, which we decided to postpone for this year. New equipment contributes greatly to our program support, and decent equipment goes a long way in manufacturing processes. And offenders are trained on these machines and new technology, which should assist them in obtaining a decent job when they are released from prison. We currently do not have any additional equipment requests. In fiscal year 20, we currently have a balance of $312,661.
For the record, Bill Coyne, Deputy Director. Also in that fund, we purchased in the last fiscal year, we purchased a vehicle truck that was approved moving forward and approved through the proper channels. We obtained a vehicle out of state, a diesel truck, a 20 to 24 foot bobtail. Long since coming, we had an old truck that just was not safe. We deliver milk. We go as far as Ely, Lovelock, Reno. So we got approval and moved forward. We purchased the vehicle. It's a used vehicle, but it's a diesel, well maintained, and it's helped our operation, and it will help us from having cost of maintaining an old vehicle. It's on the highway. It's safe for staff, safe for others on the road, and it gets our product out there and our staff safe coming home. So it was a great investment to get that new milk truck that we got. It's refrigerated also.
Members, any questions or comments?
Madam Chair, this is Bruce Aguilera.
Go ahead.
I've got a question regarding the encumbrances for fiscal year 2020, 52,260. I know we didn't have anything in prior fiscal years. What does that entail?
For the record, this is Jackie Cooper. That $52,000 was actually used, it's no longer encumbered. It was used to purchase the milk pouching machine.
Madam Chairman, I have a question.
Go ahead.
This is Alan Pulis. The way I understand it, we did not put the new skin for the sprung tent. That wasn't a capital purchase out of our capital funds. You guys directly expensed it?
For the record, Deputy Director Coyne, yes, sir. We took that out of our capital expense, not out of the, not the capital, I'm sorry, out of our general expense to move forward and get that building reskinned.
Why did we do that? That's a capital asset. Should have at least a 15-year depreciation on it, right?
At the time, for the record, Bill Quenga, at the time moving forward, it was time sensitive and working with Public Works and all that. By the time we went through the whole motion of moving through the channels and approvals and working with Public Works, this seemed to be the best situation that we could move forward and put this investment in and get a return investment, moving that company in, recouping it, put inmates to work and leasing that building out per square foot. 20,000 square foot that we're charging them per month, plus administrative fees, wages, and all that come back. So the return investment on us.
Okay, I understand that. Even though as I look to the legislature coming together a few months, we know they've had a habit of draining any capital funds that we leave in there. That was my question.
Any other questions or comments from the members?
Madam Chair, Bill Poinga again. I have a comment. If I may.
Go ahead.
So in response to Mr. Pulis and talking about the budget, so for the next biennium, we have been asked with a budget shortfall, we're looking at just over $500,000 coming out of our retained earnings on both our budgets from the prison ranch and prison industries. At this point, they did not take it out of our capital improvement fund as they did back in, I think, 08, 010. They swept over $900,000 out of our CIP fund. They didn't touch it this time. They went the other direction.
Mr. Pulis, does that answer your questions?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Saltero has joined the meeting. I go ahead and add him to our minutes. Good to see you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry for being late and stuck in traffic.
We understand. All right, seeing no other comments or questions on item 8, we will move to item 9. And members, that item is not in your backup material that you received, but we'd like to get just an update. And I know some of it's been covered in the conversation that we've had today. Just an update on 2 of the industries, their status after our approval and the implementation of the inmates employed opportunities with those 2 industries. It's All Wire and Ink to Work. If we could just get a status update on those.
For the record, Bill Poinga, Deputy Director. In regards to All Wire Inc., as I mentioned previously, so we are in operation. They started moving in mid-August and then officially started invoicing them moving forward for the space. Just 2 weeks ago, we started with 5 inmates working in there, getting trained. All their equipment has been moved out of Chowchilla, California, and they're starting production there. As I mentioned earlier, we're moving up to 10 next week inmates and hopefully moving forward up to 40, but in slow increments as they want to train 5 at a time and then move to 10 at a time. And the main production that they're doing at this point is the electronic circuitry, which provides their customer base right here in Henderson, Nevada. And what happens if they can't provide it here at our prison, they have an operation that's up in Wyoming that they're doing that part until we get ramped up at Southern Desert Correctional Center. Then that will be the sole provider and have more inmates working in there to sustain the customer needs here in Henderson, Nevada. In regards to Ink to Work, I had a conversation with Mr. Terry Hebert and Dennis Cyphers, who is the COO. We are scheduled to have a meeting next Tuesday. We're going to have a meeting virtual. In my conversation and relaying to them that at this point we were not satisfied and they need to make a decision on how we're going to move forward, that I was not going to entertain having just 2 inmates working for the distribution center, as that was not included in their presentation. Got feedback from Mr. Cyphers, their COO, and I think they're changing their tune now. They want to do manufacturing and distribution. We just got to decide if they're going to do it north or south and looking up to 10 inmates. So I will be having an ongoing conversation with them and hope to report back positive to the committee moving forward.
Thank you. Members, any questions? Okay, seeing none. Then that brings us up to our last item on the agenda, which is public comment. And I will give our broadcast team just a minute to find out if there's anyone waiting in the waiting room for public comment. For our broadcast staff, do we have anyone waiting for public comment?
Madam Chair, the public line is open and working. However, there are no callers at this time.
Thank you for that. So before we adjourn this meeting, I'd just like to remind all the committee members and the participants that our next meeting will be held on December 18th. Look to your emails for that committee time. And without anything else on our agenda, I wish you all a wonderful day and a great weekend. This meeting is adjourned.